It's the KC Artsbeat Report. I'm Patrick Neese. Thanks for joining me. Boy, time flies when you're presenting great music. And that's certainly the case with the Friends of Chamber Music, Kansas City's illustrious arts presenter. They are celebrating, unbelievably, their 50th anniversary next season, their golden anniversary. And their artistic directors, Hyeyeon Park and Dmitri Atapine, are pulling out all the stops. And we're going to talk to both of them about this incredible season in just a moment. But first, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe to the KC Artsbeat YouTube channel, like this video, and also follow us on Facebook, where every day we post all kinds of great information, not just about the arts in Kansas City, but we celebrate the birthdays of great composers, artists, visual artists, filmmakers, authors. We also acknowledge important dates in arts history. We have a lot of fun. So follow us there on Facebook. And right now it's time to say hello to our good friends, Dmitri Atapine and Hyeyeon Park.
Hello, Patrick. It's great to see you, and thank you so much for having us.
You
Thank you,
too.
Patrick, for your time. Thank you.
Oh, you bet. Happy to have you, especially when we're talking about such a monumental season. Golden anniversary. I know you can't let a golden anniversary go by without doing something really special. And you guys have really put together an incredible season. And you also always, as with your last season called Voyages, make sure that all the concerts have meaning and comment on other concerts in the season and complement them. Is that the case next year?
Yes, as you noted, Patrick, I think one of the thing that is really important to both Han and myself is that we create a sort of journey for our audience. That our audience, when they're coming to a concert by the Friends of Chamber Music, that they know that they're not just going to witness great music making by some of the finest artists from around the world, but they will also enjoy and learn something new about our glorious art form. And so when Han and I were putting together this season, one of the principal ideas that we had was how do we celebrate the incredible legacy that the Friends of Chamber Music has played in the cultural life of Kansas City and our region? Of course, how do we acknowledge this incredible organization built by Cynthia Siebert almost 50 years ago now, that has presented countless concerts, countless educational activities, countless collaborations. Um, uh, the Friends of Chamber Music has been the stage on which so many incredible artists have made their debuts, sometimes even their national debuts. And so that's one of the pillars on which we were building our season. So the legacy of the Friends of Chamber Music. Another pillar, a central pillar, is so to say the present. We celebrate who we are and we celebrate the art form. Um, our name is our mission, and our mission is our name. We are the Friends of Chamber Music. Chamber music is an incredibly rich, wonderful genre, subgenre of classical music, if you will. And not many people actually really know what it is. Even some of the people who enjoy classical music, they still find chamber music a little bit more um, secluded, a little bit more in the shadows in the grand scheme of symphonic works or operatic works by multiple composers. And yet it is the most intimate, most engaging, most friendly of all the subgenres of classical music. And we want to reintroduce ourselves to Kansas City as the carriers of this great art form. And then we also want to look into the future. You cannot spend all your bullets on the 50th season. You need to look to 51, 52, 53, all the way to 100 and more. And so a lot of what we do is bridging the past, present, and future as we organize this season.
Hey, and how do you and Dimitri put your heads together to decide on a season?
Well, Friends of Chamber Music has this long tradition of bringing the top musicians from around the world. So we definitely want to bring the best musicians. But something that we try to introduce to Kansas City is what we are bringing, not meaning like what kind of repertoire we are bringing. So yes, we contact the managers of artists that we bring in definitely for their debuts or for returns in Kansas City. But if you saw our 50th season, we have a few curated programs that Dmitri and I are bringing people together. And for those concerts, we go with the repertoire. We really wanted to present Mendelssohn Octet, as Mendelssohn Octet is also celebrating 200th premiere
Oh.
year this next year. And as I've been saying this to many people, if you don't know chamber music, go listen to Mendelssohn Octet. And if you don't like it, I don't know what to say.
I love that piece.
Yes. So we started with Mendelssohn Octet being one of the main pieces of our season opener. And we tried to find the right personnel. And to go with it, we decided to play a Schumann piano quintet, which is also in E flat major, which was kind of like the pioneer of the piano quintet genre. So as you can see, this is what we do. When we put together the season or the program, we go with what to bring to Kansas City and who will be the best people to present those works.
Now, you said that was the season opener, but actually, you are having a season preamble, which is
Yes.
featuring none other than you two, because you are both fabulous musicians, Dmitri, a cellist, and you, Hyeyeon, a pianist. And boy, you have put together quite the opener. It sounds like incredibly challenging. Tell us about this.
Well, let me give you a kind of a eagle overview of the whole season, and then you can see how all the parts. Han kind of addressed some of the parts, how they play together into a grand unified whole. So the Friends, of course, is known for our traditional kind of three streams, series. I can't really think of them as series because I just feel like there are three facets of chamber music, right? That's what we do. One of them is the dedication to early music. One of them is presenting in recital some of the greatest pianists from around the world. And of course, one of them is the celebration of the art of chamber music. And traditionally, the Friends have been bringing some of the top string quartets from around the world, some of the top piano trios, preformed ensembles. One of the things that Han and I have tried to implement is actually, as she said, um, to approach the the landscape from a perspective of the repertoire. And so, if you look at our next season in terms of, say, pianists, we have, as I mentioned, the legacy and we have the future. We have the legacy of Angela Hewitt, who is reviewing the entire landscape of the prelude and fugue. And so we're tracing the evolution of one art form through history. And then we're watching the future with Alexander Kantorov. And will share more about his program and his incredible setup as the future of keyboard playing. In the chamber music stream, so to say, we have six concerts. And as you noted, we have the season opener, which Ian described with Mendelssohn Octet being kind of a symbol of a celebration, a symbol of people coming together and joining forces in a grand celebration at the Kaufman Center. It's almost a symphonic work, and we'll have with us the great violin virtuoso Benjamin Beilman, as well as a fabulous violinist Maria Yudenich, who has a lot of ties to Kansas City. We will also welcome the string quartet, Viano String Quartet, who just are the recipients of the Avery Fisher Career Grant. And we'll have also kind of that legacy of chamber music, legacy of our history which coming from the hand of Lawrence Dutton, who is the violist, former violist. Well, he is the violist until the last moment of the Emerson String Quartet. Um, but before we start with this grand celebration, we wanted to give people the most intimate, the most sincere expression of chamber music, which is a collaboration between two people. And one of the greatest cycles in the history of chamber music is the cycle of five sonatas for piano and cello by Ludwig van Beethoven. Uh, there's numerology coming here together, five sonatas for 5 decades of celebration. There is the purity of the art form, just two people in collaboration. There's also an exploration of the role of both instruments. Sometimes the piano takes the lead, sometimes the cello plays the lead. There is also an incredible journey through a life of one composer, which is the life of Beethoven. We get his early period, his middle period, and his late period in one single concert. So there's so many little details about a human life, creation, art form, the number five, collaboration between two people, coming together in this symbolic, what we call preamble, an introduction to the art form. And yes, the two of us will be performing because we are just very lucky and we get to play. I get to play the cello and Hyun gets to play the piano, and therefore we are the perfect match for Beethoven's planning.
Well, we're the lucky ones, Dmitri. This is going to be a fantastic way. And what an intimate welcome you that the artistic directors are giving to the community by opening the season this way. That is really terrific. And that, by the way, I want to get the date here. That's going to be September 14th. Then that Golden Jubilee with the Mendelssohn Octet will be September 27th. Angela Hewitt is October 18th. I want to move through this so that we get through because there's a lot to talk about here.
One thing that you will note is that besides the chronological run through the entire season, there is a certain organization in our what we call the stream of chamber music, right? So as you notice, we open with a duo sonata. In the spring, we will have a piano trio concert celebrating that art form. In the fall, again, we are going to have a string quartet. So, piano trio and a string quartet as some of the highest forms of expression by several composers. Of course, then we also want to explore the world of wind ensembles, which is in January. We'll have Principal Brothers with us. And then sprinkled here and there are larger ensembles, like Hyeyeon already mentioned, the Schumann Piano Quintet as part of our opening concert, five people for 5 decades. And then we have the final celebration at the Kaufman Center.
Yes, excellent. So the Jerusalem String Quartet on October 29th, they are one of the world's great quartets, and it's so awesome that they're doing some Janacek, which in my opinion, you do not hear enough of his music in concert. I don't know if you guys feel that way.
Definitely. Jerusalem Quartet, as you mentioned, Patrick, they are one of the foremost string quartets in the world these days, and they are actually celebrating their 30th anniversary year. And the program that we came up with the discussion with the artist and their manager is actually really absolutely stunning because they're playing Haydn String Quartet, again, showing the root of the Haydn, the string quartet. Haydn composed more than 60 string quartets, really considered as the father of the string quartet. So they open with Haydn and they finish with none other than Beethoven's Opus 130, which is the most sublime string quartet repertoire. And of course, in the middle, they have this Janacek. And as you mentioned, I think Janacek is one of the underappreciated composer who's not often played, and the fact that they chose to play the Kreutzer Sonata, which is one of the most emotional and really that piece is kind of like psychological portrait of the composer and the things happening around the time. So I am very much looking forward to the quartets performing the Kreutzer Sonata by Janacek because their sound and their kind of intensity really suits the piece, I think.
That's going to be a meaty program. That's going to be a program you can sink your teeth into, for sure.
Definitely.
One of my favorites, one of your series within a series, is the early music stuff that you do. And Stile Antico, I have several of their recordings, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. I'm so happy to see them on your season on November 16th. Tell us about them.
Well, Stile Antico has been a kind of a staple of the Friends of Chamber Music. They have visited us several times in the past, but this year they are coming with a program called Golden Renaissance. Golden Renaissance, which is again perfectly appropriate for us to celebrate our golden season. And they are celebrating one piece from each of their 16 albums. Uh, they basically are going through their own history as a group, and they're going to share that with our audience. So it's going to be a fabulous look back and forward at what they have accomplished.
Yeah, they have such a lush sound, I think. And it's going to be especially lush in the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. And again, that's going to be Sunday, November 16th. Another early music program. I don't know if this is considered part of your early music series, the Brandenburg Concertos.
Yes, the Brandenburg Concertos are considered part of our early music series.
Yeah, well,
We tend to program music from the Baroque
uh,
and going back into the Renaissance and whatnot, even sometimes into the Middle Ages. But again, in the spirit of all-encompassing and perfectly balanced, a grandiose production is to present all six Brandenburg concertos by Johann Sebastian Bach. Bach's music, I will just simply say, has not been surpassed since his life. He is both a model, a prototype, a mountain, incredible genius that probably comes once every 1,000 years to our earth. And his six concertos paint such lush variety of textures, such incredible inventiveness, so many characters, so many instrumentations, so many different combinations of instruments, flutes, horns, trumpet piccolo, little violin, two violas in a concerto. Just the inventiveness and richness of these six pieces that will be performed in one evening, which will take about 2 hours, two and a little bit, uh, is spectacular. And they should serve as a symbol of what we do, and not just as chamber musicians, but as musicians. They will be in the hands of the Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center, which is the premier chamber music organization in the country. And maybe the reason you're asking whether they're part of our early music series or not is that the performance will be using modern instruments rather than traditional early music instruments. And that again falls within that thought we had with Hyeyeon, how we can look both to the back, to the past, and to the future. And so this performance will blend together with the name of Bach, the past, present, and future of music making.
now we're lucky that you and Heian are here in Kansas City because you have friends in this group, don't you?
Yes, yes, yes.
I mean,
Well,
that probably helps bringing them to town, doesn't it?
well, it helps with the phone calls.
Yes. Yes, that's great. And the Brandenburg concertos, as you say, are full of variety. So people will not be bored at that concert. Now, starting off next year, as you were saying, you want to, cover the bases, and it's so great to see you're bringing a wind group to town. Anthony McGill, he was here, in the Harriman Jules series, and he's just one of the greats, clarinetist. Tell us about the Principal Brothers.
Sure, you just mentioned that like you have friends at the Chamber Society Lincoln Center, and Dmitri mentioned that yeah, the phone call helps.
Yes.
Anthony McGill, we are very lucky to call him as our friends, one of our friends. So it definitely helped. As Dmitri mentioned earlier, with this 50th season, we wanted to make sure that we cover all kinds of different ensemble varieties, and of course, we thought of wind ensemble because wind ensemble groups and their repertoire is something that is again underrepresented, and we really wanted to showcase this sound world and the sound color world of this instrument combination. So Anthony McGill is on the clarinet, and his brother Dmitri McGill and two other woodwind players, Titus Underwood and Brian Young. They are called principal brothers because they have principal positions in all the orchestras nationally. As you know, Anthony is in New York Phil, Damari McGill, flutist, is Seattle, and Titus and Brian, they're in Nashville and Baltimore. So they call themselves principal brothers, and will be presenting pieces written for them by Valerie Coleman, a Juilliard composition faculty member, and other works by Villar-Robuch and Wallin, James Lee III, and even Bach. So we are very excited to showcase all these amazing four woodwind players while sharing this music that is written for woodwind groups.
Villar-Robuch is another one of those composers we don't hear often enough in recital.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that'll be great. Now, I know the next concert is definitely part of your early music series, the Venice Baroque Orchestra. And I know they've been on the series before, haven't they?
Yes, yes, they have, but it's been quite a few years, and in this case, they're presenting a program that compares the life of several composers at the same time in Venice. So you have a incredible program featuring a violin virtuoso, Shoshan Siranosyan, who is probably one of the foremost early music violinists right now in Europe. And they will be delivering a program that is all about fiery virtuosity of a single violin in contrast with the group. And so with the Brandenburg concertos, you have the entire palette of concertos that you could have in terms of kind of equal role of instruments. And in this concert, we're also celebrating just fiery virtuosity.
Vivaldi, Veracini, Tartini, Locatelli. It's got to be good, right?
A poor man's joke will say that this is a great Italian restaurant menu.
Hey, absolutely. Very tasty indeed. Now, Wu Han, Daniel Hope, and David Finkel. Boy, those are your three great musicians. They're going to come together on March the 6th. And for a piano trio jubilee.
Yes, so their concert definitely is one of our planning in piano trio, presenting piano trio repertoire. And we had to invite the pianist Uhan, violinist Daniel Hope, and David Finkel together because not only they have been to France before, so they are making their return to Kansas City, but because they are three of the most influential figures in chamber music world these days. As you know, David Finkel and Uhan, they are the directors of Chamber Music Society Lincoln Center. And Daniel Hope, I believe he wears artistic director hats in several different organizations around the world, not only in Europe, but in the States as well. And they will be playing pieces by Haydn Trio. Again, Haydn being the father of string quartet and piano trio, so they open the program with Haydn. Beethoven Opus 1, number 1 piano trio is the very first publication that Beethoven gave. That he was proud that he was ready to show himself off as a composer and pianist. And there will be finishing the concert with Dvorak Dumki piano trio. I also have to mention that violinist Daniel Hope was a former violinist of Beaux-Arts Trio, piano trio, which is one of the most legendary piano trios of our times. Of course, with Mr. Menahem Pressler's passing, the group doesn't exist anymore. But with I grew up with listening to Bozart trios recordings, so it's really meaningful that we bring in the former violinists of the group and present these
Well,
pillars. Yeah.
Beaux-Art also appeared on the Friends of Chamber Music series.
Yes, 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 many times. Yeah.
Now,
Exactly. So you see our intentional planning here.
yes, I do. Oh, of course. Now, Alexander Kontaro or Kontarov, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but I am familiar with him because I have recordings, I believe it is him, doing the Saint-Saëns piano concertos, which are just incredible. So I'm looking forward to this concert. What can you and this is on your Art of the Piano series, and that's
Yes,
April 14th.
yes, April 14th. So Alexander Kontrov and Angela Hewitt are our two pianists of the season. And well, as artistic directors and as musicians ourselves, when we are in different cities, we go to concerts, trying to find new people and trying to get to know new pieces. So we were in New York City, got lucky enough to get to tickets to Alexander Kantrov's concert in Carnegie Hall a few years ago. And the moment we heard him, we said we need to bring him to Kansas City. It was, yeah, that concert really, really blew our mind. And the program that he chose for this particular concert is also very meaningful. You see Liszt variations, a motif by Bach as the piece that you don't get to hear often at concert stages, and Medtner Sonata, and Chopin Prelude Opus 45. This is the piece that nobody really plays at concert stages. So he combined these three kind of not too often heard pieces with Scriabin Sonata and Beethoven's last piano sonata, Opus 111. So again, you see Beethoven. We not only we have Beethoven cello sonata as a season preamble, but we have Beethoven piano trio Opus 1 number 1 by David Finkel-Lujan and Daniel Hope, and Alexander Kontrov playing the last piano sonata Opus 111, and Jerusalem playing the Opus 130. So we're also kind of, you see all this planning. You asked us at the beginning, how do you put your heads together? There's a lot of thinking behind this season.
Oh, it's very intricate, and it's also very clever on your part because, people need to come to all these concerts to hear how these pieces fit together.
You read our minds. Yeah.
Now, one of my favorite groups, again, because I love choral music, is the Tallis Scholars, and they've also been a mainstay of the series. And this sounds like a particularly fantastic concert, Mysteries and Miracles on April 18th. Um, what do you want to say about that?
Well, appropriately, the the theme of that program obviously is timed to the celebration of Easter, and so there is a lot of devotional music, a lot of reverential music, and a lot of music that celebrates, as the title says, the mysteries and miracles of that incredible event. Um, the the group itself has many ties to the Friends of Chamber Music, and when we examined their program, it was also fantastic for us to note how the same theme is being captured by different composers, right? And that theme of the Virgin Mary, the resurrection, the theme of just the celebration of Easter uh, travels through time and space in the hands of people like Gabrieli de Victoria, Thales, Gallus, and of course, even all the way to Arvo Pärt in the 20th century. So that connection through the ages of early music to the present is also something that's very important to us.
And I can't imagine you guys celebrating your golden anniversary without having the Tallis Scholars on the program. I mean,
Absolutely.
yes. Now, to conclude the season, this is going to be another showstopper. May the 3rd, Carnival of the Animals. You know, everybody, I think, if you're a classical music lover, you might know this piece, but it's real another one of these pieces you really don't hear performed live that often. And this is the kind of work that when you hear it performed live, it's just a real jolt.
Right. Well, and that it was a perfect kind of overarching, we have these two bookends of the season, if you don't count the preamble. At the Kaufman Center for the Performing Arts, we have the opening Mendelssohn Octet large ensemble on stage, and we decided an even larger ensemble on stage for the Carnival of the Animals. It's such a welcoming piece. It has so much humor. It has so much celebration. Again, it's filled with different combination of instruments. You have the famous swan for cello and piano. You have two pianists on stage. You have the percussion. You have winds. You have double bass. Just the variety of combinations. It's so um, cleverly indicative of what chamber music can do and will do. And we are pairing that work with a premiere by a co-commission by the Friends of a piece by Michael Stephen Brown, which is called a Magical Carnival. It is a kind of a modern take on some of the extinct species. So it's actually was a project that was born during a conversation that several artistic directors, including myself, had with Michael on a hike in Arizona. And we were just walking through and we were admiring these archaeological, incredible view. And then we thought, well, how species go extinct and how life on Earth transforms itself. And he said, why don't I write a carnival based on those species that might go extinct in a few years and also kind of engage a younger generation. So we did that. So yeah, it's a again a take on an old classic, while the old classic is as fresh and alive as could be.
Sounds like a great way to end the season. And, you know, we know that the Friends of Chamber Music will not go extinct under your fine leadership, Hyeyeon Park and Dmitri Atapine. Any final words about this magnificent golden anniversary?
I think that what you just said, Patrick, is the most important thing. When anyone celebrates 50 years, the most important thing to keep in mind is how you approach the 51st season. And I want to share with you, all your listeners, that we're already deeply planning that one. And that the most important thing for us throughout this season is not so much about us, but it is much more about you, our audience, how to make new friends of chamber music, how to engage with the incredible music loving community of Kansas City who has already given us so much. And this is our gift to you, the audience. And the only thing we ask of you is to bring as many friends as you can to each and every single one of our concerts.
I don't think that's too much to ask. And for tickets, I love your web address, by the way, chambermusic.org. You know, that says it all. And you have a phone number too, right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
probably on our website.
On the website, yes. Check it out. Yeah, and that's chambermusic.org. Dimitri and Hyeyeon, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Looking forward to seeing you at the concerts.
Absolutely. And you're listening to the KC Arts Beat Report. Please like this video and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. And until next time, I'm Patrick Neese.